Hello, everybody. Once again, I would like to thank Fundación Arsayan for this new opportunity. It is a privilege to have this space again to talk, to be part of the network that it's been formed from different parts of the world with different tools, discipline, and cultures, all putting our grain of sand in the I am path. We are beings of light and shadows. And now, more than ever, we have to embrace that energy and work consciously and with responsibility in order to be more complete, in order to shine. I am Elizabeth Mehr, soul therapist. Before I start this second and last part of the soul entrapment concept, that belongs and was developed by my teacher, Jose Luis Cabuli. Let's take a moment with a few brief words regarding the importance of the words and what we say, because in this video, I will explain the soul entrapment through words and emotions. First, when we visit the Fundación Arsayan webpage, there is a phrase in bold and italic that really caught my attention. It says, Arsayan means those who speak to the world. And that is the example that Matthias and all the members of the foundation always have in the moment they speak to all of us. We can really feel in their words and the way they communicate with us, that they are all full of respect and love, with a clear message. Think that the word can build or destroy, empower or disempower something or someone. It is the biggest attribute that we have as human beings. This mean of communication that is so natural to us that we sometimes underestimate or we don't give the value that it should have. Let's take a moment to think how many times we say something without meaning it, with no conscience, without being responsible of the message that we're giving. How many mantras we have acquired from our parents, and also how many mantras we say to our kids and beloved ones. How many times we judge or delimit a person or someone we love. How many labels we put to things and people. And this happens daily. For example, let's take a moment to be conscious of the emotional baggage that has our own name. Where is it come from? Why was that name given to us? What's the meaning? What is the family story with that name? All this gives a value to our name. When we were in the womb and our parents knew our gender during the pregnancy, they will start calling us with that name. One word will accompany us until the day that we die. Each word has a vibration, and our name will influence the rest of our life. Just one word. For the Toltecas, one should be impeccable with what he or she thinks and says. For the Guaranis, the word has a sacred value. It means soul. So if I give you my word, I give you my soul. Also, we have an extensive and wonderful vocabulary. But as Julio Cortázar said, words are never enough when what we want to say overflows the soul. The word also goes with an intention. They are tied to our mind, heart, and body, and the body speaks its own language because a gesture or a look can change the meaning of that word. Both words and thoughts are vibration. That is why it's so important to be conscious of this. Not only what we say, but also what we think. Before continuing with the soul entrapment, let me remind you something that I said in the previous video. There are emotional pains where the soul is trapped with mandates, promises, oaths, vows, curses, and these entrapments are pains of the soul that aren't resolved. Remember that the soul is timeless, so everything is active because it's happening here and now. It doesn't matter if it happened a year ago when we were teenagers, childhood in the womb, or even past life. And everything is happening at the same time because the soul is multidimensional. These kind of entrapments are thoughts or words full of intense emotional energy that gives them strength and power. Sometimes we are unconscious, and sometimes we are really conscious of them. Let me explain you in detail the difference between mandates, promises, oaths, vows, agreements, and curse. All of them are timeless. The mandates are mental reactions that are originated in the unconscious under a lot of stress. In other words, they don't go through the consciousness. They are thoughts full of intense emotion, positive or negative affirmation with strength and power. It's the intention that those words were said. I could have said them to myself or to somebody else, and they are recorded as an order, as a mental block. They configure the unconscious belief system of a person. For example, when a father says to his son, "You have to be the best," or if we think, "I don't deserve happiness because I blame myself for something," this delimit us and also influence us. The promises are manifestations and expressions of a person of a person's will to do something or give something to another person or to a group of person. They are related with the intention of those words that were said, with the engagement and responsibility that was assumed when pronouncing it. In this case, we are conscious, and therefore, not only our will is compromised because it's a conscious act, but also our energy. And we need to remember, as I said in the previous video, the soul is anchored to a physical body and it's timeless and multidimensional. So those promises that we set in this life or in past life, they are still active. They're still in the soul. Promises have a serious consequences in the present life because interferes with the current decision, no matter when the promise was made. They are usually of love to parents, to children, to beloved ones. For example, a couple that says to each other, "I will love you forever," or a promise to the parents that the family business will continue. For the soul, these promises are active even though if we are in a different body or if the situation changed. An oath is a solemn promises that are made or invoked to a person, object, or a belief as a witness. They work as promises at a soul level. Usually we say, I swear to God, I swear to you on my children or on my family. The vows are promises made to a religious entity. For example, marriage vows, obedience, chastity, poverty, among others, also work as promises at a soul level. And the agreements, they are contracts between two parties where the agreement must be fulfilled. A formal consent is given. Generally, they are accompanied by a signature, a ritual, or blood. It is a firm internal decision. The person is fully aware of the commitment and its consequences. They can be agreements or commitments between two persons, of brotherhood, between tribes, countries, or with the dark. It is not the same to sign in ink than with blood, or to shake hands with someone than both have a bleeding wound in their hands in order to create blood ties. I can give you a very simple and current example like an employment contract. We give not only our energy and will, but also our own power. Finally, the curse are the same as the promises, they are timeless. It is an act of will because we are conscious when we are spoken or pronounced. It is a deep and intense desire of something to happen, to cause harm, and not to be the one to cause it, of course. We can also think of it as an expression or a set of words in which the evil is invoked or wished to a person. It is more lethal than the promises or mandates because it carries a penetrating and precise intention of causing harm due to a hatred or anger or impotence of a person who pronounces it. It can be compared to throwing a burning spear to a person with those emotions, strength, and hitting right in the soul of the person who receives it. And clearly, this spear will impact the other. There are three types of curses: the ones that we can pronounce to others, the ones that others can pronounce to us, or those that we can pronounce to ourselves. The curse can be generational, can be to the descendants, to a group of people, or to a person. For example, damn the day that I met you. Damn you or your family. Damn you and your descendants. And remember, the person who says the curse will affect the other person, but also to herself or himself due to the law of cause and effect. Now, let's put an example of what happened in a therapeutic regression session. If a patient comes because she is frustrated with situations that repeats in her life once and again, explaining that each time she starts a project or a job, shortly it ends or gets fired, even if she's giving the best out of her or that she's really qualified for it. And what's more, same thing happened with her partners or love life. So we start working until we find the root and origin of all this. Maybe my patient goes to an experience in her childhood, and has a mandate from her father who used to say her, "You're useless." Or perhaps she goes to a past life where she was cursed for being successful at her business. Or it could be that she goes to a past life where she promised eternal love to her husband on the wedding day. In the session, these situations are revived through regression. The unconscious becomes conscious, giving the soul the opportunity to resolve the trauma in a satisfactorily way on a physical, mental, energetical, and emotional level. With the help of the therapist, the patient cancels and breaks the vows, curses, promises, or works on the mandate so the soul can end that experience forever. Also, healing the soul and recovering that energy. As I mentioned previously, the soul is energy, and by recovering that energy that was trapped, by doing the healing process, we are more complete. For all those reasons, it is very important to be conscious and responsible with what we say, the intention that we put when we talk, our thoughts, our gestures, and of ourselves. Also, we must be responsible of what we hear, understand how through words our energy, our soul, and the person who received the message are compromised. The more complete we are energetically, the better we'll be able to walk through and learn on the I am path. And remember that the words I am are the most powerful ones because what we put behind them will shape our own reality. And it's not a coincidence that we are all engaged in this powerful path full of teachings, learnings, evolving, which is the I am path. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, here I am. Thank you.